Aaron, what is required for there to be a decent VAERS report? And, if the CDC and the FDA is telling every doctor essentially this thing's perfectly safe, it's amazing, you can give it to kids, multiple doses, are doctors even looking for it? If they're staring right at somebody saying, well, we'll have to go look to see if there's a signal. I'm not even going to recognize that you're telling me right now before my eyes you're having an issue. We'll go back and have to see if somebody wrote about it. Who's going to write about it if the entire idea is that there are no issues? Don't the doctors need to be guided that we are looking for these specific issues? If you see it at all, immediately file a VAERS report?
My experience is that doctors do not file a VAERS report unless they believe the actually vaccine caused the harm. Otherwise, they don't do it. It's an arduous, time-consuming, laborious process to file a VAERS report. It's not simple. It's not like an automated thing. It takes a long time. And so doctors that do it, in my experience, they don't do it unless they really think it's related to it's really caused by the vaccine. The other interesting thing about VAERS, they tell you to trust the doctors. You know who submits most VAERS reports? The pharmaceutical companies and doctors. That's where most VAERS reports comes from based on the historical data.
Right.
But yet Peter Marks is very happy to rely on doctors and pharma companies when it fits what he wants, but he doesn't give VAERS virtually any accord. And it's not like VAERS does not have a lot of reports of harm in it. It has an incredible number of reports of harm in it. And people are not, they like to point out the one or two random reports that, look like they're not legitimate. But that's
like a car accident. They'll say, well, there's car accidents in there. I'd like to point out that syncope was such a massive problem that they started making people wait inside after being injected. It used to be 15 minutes. Now wait 45 minutes because so many people are tanking and dropping to the floor. What happens to all those people that left after 15 minutes? How do they know to keep them for 45 minutes? I don't know. How many people were driving down the highway when all of a sudden they passed out and had a car accident? So there's no way in the world. Car accident, ridiculous. Why is a car accident in VAERS? These are the types of things that drive me crazy, Aaron.
Let's put it this way. Peter Marks is the type of person who walks into a cemetery and says, I can't see any dead people, so there's no dead people here. Okay? Right. So you don't have nothing to look at. There's no dead people here. Look, right. I'm looking right now. I don't see any dead people. So, well, they're in the ground, buddy, but he's not going to do that. I mean, this is the way they conduct science, or science, so to speak, over at the FDA. He's not going to find any quote-unquote safety signal because the reality is he's not really looking. And you don't need to know, and the proof that he's not really looking is from this timeline that compiles letters that, recordings that Brianne and her group recorded of Dr. Marks, of other recordings from other individuals who recorded speaking to him about COVID-19 vaccine, includes all the letters that we sent him, the responses, internal emails. I don't think Dr. Marks ever thought in a million years that anybody would take the time to literally take every single recording, email, communication, including many obtained via FOIA, many that various folks, and put it all together in a timeline. And when you look at that full timeline, it is very clear he is saying one thing to the public and he is saying something else in private, and they don't match. And when it comes to neuropathies, which absolutely you guys said it very well, this is not an out of the blue situation. The fact that a vaccine can cause damage to the nervous system and nerves is well known. What do you think Guillain-Barré syndrome is? What do you think transverse myelitis are? It's your immune system after a vaccine attacking what? Your body's nerves. Those are well established, as well as numerous other forms of issues where the body's immune system attacks nerves. Now, they recognize those because they just can't hide from it. And by the way, I don't want to go on a tangent, but the fact that a vaccine could damage the nerves in your extremities, right, like GBS, and continue up, or transverse myelitis, or in your spine, why can't it damage nerves in your brain? Right. If the vaccine can cause your immune system to evade antibodies to self, of course it could do it anywhere in your body.
Right.
Let's put that issue aside, because vaccines do not cause those issues.
Right.
I'm not going to say it.
Let's not go there.
I'm not going to go there. But with that said,
I'm kidding,
To
by the
answer your
way,
question,
for all you
yeah,
parents out there that have been through that, let me not joke about that. Obviously
I'm not
autism,
joking about it.
obviously, you've got brain swelling. We know it happens. That's written as a side effect from vaccines across the board, encephalitis. So I don't mean to joke about that. It's a very serious issue. And COVID, this vaccine, Brianne, all of your work is bringing to light for so many parents, that were gaslit. We knew, Aaron and I, we talked about this. This is going to be a different scenario with COVID because this is going to be adults. This isn't an infant. This isn't a child that can't speak for themselves. These are going to be adults like you that were running track, were skiing, were athletic, and suddenly cannot walk. That's going to become obvious. Doctors like the one that's reporting and saying, I not only was treating people that were injured, I was injured myself. Now I'm trying to figure out, you got to know there's thousands of these people. They're coming through our hospital. Me, my friends, people around me. You're saying 1 in a million. It can't be 1 in a million injuries because I and the patients here and others in this hospital around me are all having these injuries. These numbers have got to be catastrophically high.
When you look at that timeline, I'm just going to put out 3 data points, and obviously the public should look at the whole thing. But one of the data points, for example, and you heard a piece of that recording, is you've got about 6 people on this call with Dr. Mark saying, hey, we suffered neuropathy, 5 of whom at least were doctors, physicians saying they suffered neuropathy from a vaccine. On that call, what's Dr. Peter Mark saying? He's saying, well, we have a very sophisticated system. With VAERS, we even picked up TTS, which is when you have thrombosis with thrombocytopenia, meaning you've got, well, it doesn't matter what it is.